tuned out unmasked, by the way.
They're like unsubscribe. Something wrong with you ladies. Hey everybody, welcome back to Fandomly Speaking,
where each week we speak randomly about fandoms. I'm Liza.
and I'm Melissa, and this week we are going to be getting random about magic.
Yes, witches and wizards and all that media. I'm so excited.
Yes.
So there will be spoilers for all the witchy and wizardy kind of things that we'll be talking about today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also a warning, we are two genx autistic women, and we have no idea what's going to come out of our mouths because we are unmasked and overstimulated.
That's right.
So, just fair warning, things are going to be said. Also, because we are going to be talking about witches, wizards, magic, and all of that stuff, if you have any religious issues and objections, might not be the episode for you. Just wanted to get that out there. So please don't be offended if you do end up listening to it.
I'm so sorry. I had a comment.
She finds this amusing.
I had a comment on my Dr. Squish page yesterday because I did a Labubu and Sunny Angel episode on Dr. Squish, and someone unsubscribed because I was showing naked kids and demons. I was like, well, Labubu is a little weird,
probably not the right place for you. That
was super funny to me.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So, but before we dive into the magic, witches, wizards, warlocks, magic users, let's talk about what we did this week in geeking.
I'm still in Lost, but I love it. I'm loving all of it. I'm still in Lost, and I'm getting through it. And every single episode, I'm go, oh my god, I didn't remember that happened. So it's been fun. Yeah. I was back on the ice planet this week. I can't help it, and I keep reading these books that somehow I missed. These older books, and The Running Man by Stephen King. He wrote it as Richard Bachman. Yeah. It was on a deep, deep sale on Audible, and so I grabbed it because I was like, somehow I've never read this book. I don't know why. Why are all these dystopian novels set in 2025?
People knew. They knew.
I mean, they did. I was shocked when this came out, and it is kind of Hunger Games-ish. I didn't watch the movie, but I know that it's very different from the book. Just totally, completely different.
The movie is an 80s masterpiece of Arnold Schwarzenegger insanity.
Yeah, and it's not the same plot as the book.
No.
So
not the same vibe.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting here reading this like, why? This has sounded a little too familiar for me right now. Yeah. It is funny, though, seeing how someone from the 80s wrote 2025. Because he wrote a whole thing about, like, this camera is so small it can fit in your pocket, but he had an entire 6-pound stack of tapes to put in it. I'm like, oh, well, yeah.
You're so cute.
Right.
What were we watching last night? Oh, we're Bill wants to watch all the Mission Impossible movies.
Oh my goodness. How many are there now?
Weekend. There's 8. So we just finished. We got through Ghost Protocol last night, but we were laughing like in the first movie, the disc that they're like trying to get. It's a floppy.
Yeah, man.
The movie was made in 1996. Like,
right.
Oh, crap. Wow.
Technology.
So yeah. So this week in geeking, I finally finished Buffy. I kind of dragged out like the second half of the last season just because I didn't want to say goodbye. And so I had been starting to rewatch Lost. And you're not nuts if you're thinking to yourself, wait, didn't you just do that? When we first started the podcast, I was rewatching Lost because I like to rewatch Lost. So now I'm rewatching it differently with an eye towards kind of, prepping for an episode. And I also got this book for us. It's the Lost Chronicles.
Amazing.
It's an official book that comes with a DVD. Look, it's even got like, you can get
that
merch.
Old technology.
Oh yeah. And so this is like more of an official, like sort of a little guide, but there's interviews and stuff and background information, which will be good. And but there's also one about the philosophy of Lost that I ordered. And then the other thing that I'm like maybe almost halfway through is Into Every Generation a Slayer is Born.
Awesome.
And this is by Evan Ross Katz. This book is so good. And then I started listening to what did we call the Expeditionary Force series, the newest book. It came out in May, and I haven't listened to it yet. Gateway, book 18. That's the ones with Skippy, the Magnificent. You know, love them. And I started The House Witch. I'm going to finish The House Witch today. And thank you. Thank you so much, Liza. The House Witch is exactly what I needed in my life.
I will be talking a lot about it today.
Good.
That's in a lot of my stuff. I love that series.
Loving Finley Asho. You're right. Finley Asho and someone to
so good.
Love. Yes. So that's my geeking this week.
Well, that's amazing. You did a lot.
Yeah, always.
You always accomplish a lot in geeking.
I do. I don't do much else.
Now
my life is a lot of watching television and reading.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love it. We've talked about that today. I hope you guys are ready that there will be some hot takes and maybe some soul bearing and a little bit of confessions.
I think so.
We don't even know what's coming out of the other's mouth. We're just like,
you know what?
I have something to say.
We just know we have something to say, but I told you I was going to have a big confession, and I need to write it down because I didn't put it in my notes.
Oh.
Okay.
Tell me what it is, Melissa. I'm so excited.
I'm going to tell you when it's time. All right. So I would like to start off, if this would be okay with you, Liza,
okay,
by answering a really important question that I think informs the rest of the conversation.
Okay.
Do you believe in magic?
Oh, that's so hard. Oh, it's so hard. Magic, like what's in these fiction books, or just any type of magic? Or
any type of, like, do you believe that there is any kind of way that we have extra power within ourselves, or that we can draw on power from the earth or objects or anything like that?
I don't know if I do or not.
That's okay. That's a perfectly valid answer.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's so many things that can't be explained. Yeah, there's just mountains and mountains of things that can't be explained. But I also have the thought of they could be explained if someone would explain it to me. You know, 10,000 years ago, humans didn't know how a lot of stuff worked, so it seemed like magic. And now that we have science, it'll explain a lot of things that they didn't get. So there may be things that I think are amazing and magical that just there's no explanation. And in a few thousand years from now, they'll be like, those weirdos. Yeah, they didn't understand this at all.
I mean, like, what is it? Science is indistinguishable by magic or from magic or some line like that.
Until it's explained, right? So
yes.
I do have a lot of things that I think are amazing. They can't be coincidence, that they just don't make sense unless some bigger power explains them. But I also accept that somebody else might explain it one day, and maybe I just don't know. I don't know. Yeah. That's a hard one. You threw it at me right at the beginning.
Sorry. Sorry. I was thinking it would either be more of a yes or no, but it's a valid question. And my answer is yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think, and this is why I mentioned religion kind of at the opening, is so I was raised Catholic, and I went to Catholic school for 12 years. And my family is Italian. And so I was raised with a heavy dose of superstition, and also Catholicism asks you essentially to believe in Jesus-based magic. Right? Like miracles, healings, water into wine, like those things that happen. Wine becomes the body and blood of Christ. So I think that opened me to just be more accepting of, why couldn't some of this stuff be real?
Now, I do fully believe, this is going to sound crazy after what I just said, I do fully believe in the supernatural.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I absolutely believe in the supernatural. I just think there's a lot of natural phenomena that we don't understand yet. There may be an explanation for. I don't know.
Yeah. And I just think, I was raised to believe, like, the power of prayer, but very specific types of prayers. So there were like novenas to specific saints, and Saint Anne is like the patron saint of a lot of people in my family. So all of us have the middle name of Anne. I mean,
I didn't know that.
Every girl's middle name is Anne, because my family believed that they said novenas to Saint Anne when my uncle, who is actually my godfather, he was a prisoner of war in Germany, and they said the novena to Saint Anne, like all of, because my grandmother had 9 sisters, so there's a little witchiness going on here. They and my great grandmother, they just every day they just continually did this novena to Saint Anne for my Uncle Pat.
Right.
And my Uncle Pat was when the war was over, he came home. He was alive.
That's amazing.
But he'd been a prisoner of war for over 2 years.
Yeah.
And they did that for 2 years. So like Anne is like, so I think that's what kind of puts me in this willingness to believe in magic, to believe that maybe all of us, or maybe just some of us, have the ability to focus our intention and will to a degree that makes us connect with a higher power that can maybe affect some kind of change.
Oh, you are
that
getting into
sounds
some
crazy.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't sound crazy, but there's a lot of people who don't like that conversation. So you're getting into some stuff. You're getting into some stuff here today, Melissa.
I'm getting into some stuff. I know, and that's why I mentioned the religion thing, because I think a lot of people are like, well, prayer and magic are not the same thing.
Yeah, you're really not. And people are not going to like that conversation.
But aren't they?
And also,
So anyway,
unfortunately, also for me, prayer is also part of autism. I mean,
No, I want to hear about this.
not like I do not have any kind of diagnosed OCD, so that's not. I'm not saying that about myself. But when I do this, I'm going to need to pray. If I go here, I'm going to need to pray. If you know what I'm saying, like when you do these things, you need to pray. If I get in the car or go somewhere, I'm going. Do you know what I'm saying? Like as a habit.
You mean how I
touch?
touch the airplane before
Correct.
I get on it
Yes,
and ask
ma'am,
Jesus
like that.
to protect me?
Yes, like that.
Every time?
Yeah, I do.
Yep. Yeah. I have tremendous religious superstition anxiety.
That's it.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, we were raised with that, though.
That's right.
So, yeah. But and even if it's not true, you know, this is how you when you start beating yourself up over it, I say to myself, look, even if this isn't real, what is the harm in you saying a prayer right now? What is the harm
it's how your brain
in you
copes?
making the sign of the cross when a hearse drives by? What is the harm in that?
Yeah, it's the way your brain copes with things.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're going to go to a lot of places around religion, also around the autistic experience that I find in pretty much every story about magic users, wizards, witches, warlocks, magic in general. I read almost all of these characters now as being autism coded. Because I'm like, oh my God, all the things that I related to in that person. Oh God, it's the
And also, it's a lot of times because people like us enjoy it because they very often put people into little groups in the, like Hogwarts. They're in little groups and we like to do that, put people where they go in their little boxes. So
I also like to know where I'm supposed to be.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Correct.
So, yeah. So, okay. So that was the big scary question was, do you believe in magic? And I really want to know, would love, we've been starting to get some really thoughtful comments from you guys, and we would love more, because this is such an interesting topic. It's not just like, let's talk about how much we love Hogwarts or whatever.
Yeah. And let me say, we did a whole show about vampires. I think that was our second show, wasn't it? Or our third? Something like that.
Our third, yeah.
And you and I were talking about there wasn't nearly as much vampire media that we had consumed as we thought. And I like wrote down all the witch and wizard media that I had consumed. And there was just not nearly as much as I thought.
No, it's just me rereading the same thing over and over again. It's part of the problem.
That's right.
I watch and read the same stuff over and over again. But what I did after you told me about that, I started also doing a little bit of Googling, and it seems like it really, really was not, other than fairy tales, it was not really in media. It really wasn't until the 80s that we started to get more frequent use of magic, witches, and wizards in media, which seems
weird.
But it also appears to be true.
Now, one thing, I have read a ton of books with witches in them that are like what I call the Hallmark books. You know, they're just super easy to consume. I didn't put any of that on here because I don't really care. But I have read a ton of books with witches. I didn't put that on.
My mom was like on a kick of reading all of the free ones on the, Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
And I would just see her whipping through all of those Hallmarks. So I would read it.
They had a butter festival in this little town that has witches, that kind of thing. I didn't put those on here, but I have read a lot of that kind of stuff. So
Me too. Like, I didn't really put any of the Molly Harper books, even though
I like those books.
I mean, I've read a ton of them. So we have some questions because we needed to organize ourselves.
Yeah, and I don't have answers for a ton of these because
I don't either.
They're
but
hard.
So what was the first magical fandom or story or whatever that made you fall in love with the idea of wizards, witches, magic?
It's really the old school one. It's really, really The Wizard of Oz. Like, I mean, even though that movie was so old by the time I came along, I mean, I was born in 1980, so I was a kid in the 80s. Yeah. And so that movie was already, 50 years old by then?
Well, it came out in 1932.
Right, it was old by then. But even still, that scene where she goes from this humdrum, podunk Kansas life, it's black and white, to this magical world in color. Even 30 years later, or 50 years later, whatever it was like, oh, wow. And the witches were scary but cool, and then there was Glinda who was cool, and I watched that movie every year. I loved that movie. And then all the Oz centered stuff that came out around it. When in the 80s there was a ton of stuff about Oz.
Yeah, it did get a resurgence.
And some creepy ones, some really Return to Oz. It was just nightmare fuel. But I loved all that, so I think that was my first.
Yeah, I think mine was Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched.
Yeah, Bewitched. Yep.
And I was absolutely obsessed with those two shows as a little girl. Absolutely loved them. The idea that you could like wiggle your nose or go like this, and oh my gosh, I loved it so much. But also, I think fairy tales. Like I always, I loved all of like the magical stuff that was happening in fairy tales. And,
there's
I always kind of rooted for
Disney.
The witches a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of good villains in Disney that were witches.
Yeah.
I watched all that stuff. Yeah. But what is The Wizard of Oz, Melissa? It's a musical.
It's a musical.
It's a musical. Of course, that was my first one.
Do you know that I have the soundtrack on an album?
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. You have a way to play that?
Not anymore.
Well.
But yeah, I used to listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I can do there's bits of dialogue in it. So if you ever watch Wizard of Oz with me, I can do all the dialogue in the movie.
Yeah.
It's really fun for my husband. He really enjoys that.
I bet he does.
No. Do you identify more with wizard or witch or the apprentice or the reluctant chosen one?
Well, I think that depends because over the years and decades, so much about how they're written has changed, right? Obviously, back for years and years, the witch was evil. She was the old lady. She was bad, and now that's not necessarily the case anymore. No. So I guess it just depends on what we're talking about.
Okay, so which fandom has your favorite take on like magical creatures, or, like familiars, demons, spirits?
Oh my God, that's so hard, isn't it?
It is. I think so. I'll start while you try and think about it.
I'm gonna look at all the stuff.
I think Harry Potter. She has a very detailed. I mean, there's that you can even get the book now of like all of the different magical creatures, right? I mean, there's books.
Yes.
So I think she just really has the most detailed kind. I think, and that's really cool because it almost feels academic because it is. They're at school. So often in this, you're going to hear me go back to like Anne Rice's The Mayfair Witches. And also / the Vampire Chronicles, because eventually they do meet up and they end up being witches along with the vampires. And I think I just really like her explanations for what witches are, what spirits are, and I just really like that. Like that like makes sense to me.
Yeah,
it's not so fantastical.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's so unfortunate too, isn't it? I agree that the world that J.K. Rowling built is just the most. it's the best for your imagination. It just really fuels your imagination, right? Because it's not just this school story, it's the greater world at large. She built this huge universe that's all magical. I loved the Fantastic Beasts story, the history. I just loved all of it. So yeah, I agree with you. That world is probably my favorite. Every world that talks about witches and wizards is totally different. They've all built a different universe, and that one is kind of the most fun. It also kind of has this weird Halloween feel to it. I don't know if that's my, I just love Halloween, and so it has this kind of Halloween feel, and it's cozy.
Yes, and it is. I think that's the thing that a lot of, there's so many cozy books written now. And I think, especially the earlier Harry Potter books are cozy. After stop being cozy. But isn't that childhood? We go from cozy to extremely complex to it's all on fire and everybody's dead. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that book starts with horrific abuse. So,
well, they're just, Mm-hmm. Okay, so... there's all these different implements of destruction, right? Implements for doing magic. There's wands and there's cauldrons and there's spell books and potions and magical powders and all of these different things. Do you have one that like you enjoy the most, or is there one that you would want to use? Like if you were going to be a magic user, what would be your
I think
go-to?
It is I've always loved like potion making. Oh my God, that's so fun and neat to me. Even as like a little kid, I would be in the bathroom like just mixing up shampoo and shit and like I'm making a potion. I just think that that's so interesting and fun. And again, academic, you can learn to do this. So even if you don't have magic, you can make a potion.
Yes.
That is something. And that is kind of what people do. Medicine and how we learn to do that. That's kind of interesting. I love potions.
Yeah. I like that, but I think for me it would be like a book of shadows, a spell book, but like a book of shadows that is like a grimoire passed down. Like this is all of the knowledge from our family passed down from woman to woman, because that's like that feels very lines up with kind of the way I was raised, with the way like none of the things that the candles and the saints and all the different weird things that like the women in my family were doing, those were not sanctioned by the Catholic Church. They were just somehow, they had taken paganism and witchcraft and just were like, yes, but it's Catholic because saints. And it's kind of like, I mean, voodoo and hoodoo do a lot of the same. It's like they're like, yes, Saint so-and-so, but also he also used to be this other god or powerful figure that we worshipped, but now we call him Saint Anthony. So I think so that's why I think the spell book, because it's like information you can pass on and add to, but similar to you, if I have the spell book, I can do the magic. Right? If you know how to make the potions, you can do the magic.
That's right.
Together we'd be unstoppable.
That's right.
We're 2 out of the 3 charmed girls here.
I'm absolutely dying that I picked potions, because one of my favorite comments I've ever gotten on my social media was
oh no,
you look just like Snape. Alan Rickman. No. I said I look just like Alan. I was like, I've never been told that, but okay.
Potion master.
I was like, well, I don't know what to think about that, but all right.
Ooh, your comments are brutal.
Oh, they are.
Brutal.
I have had a lot.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So if you were like going to create do your own world building, and it had like a magical element to it, like what would be the core of that magic? What would would it be anybody can do magic if they know the spells or know the formula, or that they have to have something special?
I mean, I guess if I wanted to build one personally, that would be important, that anybody can do it, because so much a part of all of this media is that you're born with it, or there's a differentiation between magical people and non-magical people, and it gets there's a lot of isms that start bumping up against each other. So I would want everybody to be able to, if they could learn it.
Yeah. I think mine would be kind of, more of like a Wicca based, earth magic.
Yeah.
Drawing power from nature and everything around us, but also giving that power back to nature. But also anybody would be able to learn how to do it because everybody is inherently magical in that would be my world. Anybody could do it. There's no, yeah. And if you could cast one spell.
Oh my goodness.
See, you need time to think about this. I cheated because I was sitting here for a while before we started, and
All right, let's hear it.
I read over the notes. Any time travel spell. Right. Yeah. I don't want money. I don't want good looks. I don't want love. Not that I don't, but no. I would love to be able to time travel and not to change anything. Yeah, I just want to be able to go see. I have questions.
You want to only go back or also forward?
I want to only go back.
I figured so. I figured that was the case.
I think going forward is not having any. We have to do a time travel. How have we not thought to do a time travel episode? Oh my God! With how much we love time travel.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. How have we not thought about that?
Ooh, okay, that's gonna happen.
Okay. So since you mentioned that, I do have one that my husband and I have talked about all the time, that we both wish that we could just do anything and be anywhere. Like, I guess teleportation spell.
Teleportation.
That's the one that, because we have had to travel so much. He was in the military, and oh my God, we've had to move so many times, and our families have been across the, if we could just teleport, it would have been so much easier so many times. So yeah,
that's a better one, because I say that all the time. Like, I will probably never see Europe because travel is just too much for me. It's too overwhelming. If I could teleport to different places in Europe and spend the day there, maybe spend the night in a hotel, I'm fine. But travel kills me. So
it's
yes,
awful.
You're right. Teleportation.
It's so good. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Somebody figure that out.
Yeah, work on that. I really hope they're never gonna get there. So if you could attend any magical school. Now, there's lots of magical schools, and I haven't read most of the books that involve a magical school.
Yeah, me neither. I think the only one I have maybe read is Harry Potter, and
I read The Magicians, but I don't remember it.
I have not read that one.
And I know they made a TV show too. So the only thing I had was I would want to go because the answer is always Mists of Avalon with me, and go study in the House of Maidens with all the nice women and learn how to worship the goddess and do simple hearth magic. That's what I. Keep it simple.
Did you ever? I have the feeling I know the answer to this, but did you ever find out what your official Hogwarts house was?
Yes. And it depends. It's very depends.
Oh.
I have done the tests multiple times. Most of the time, I'm Gryffindor. Some days I'm Ravenclaw.
Wow. I have done it multiple times and I always get the same answer. And my daughter got the same answer as well. We are both Hufflepuff.
I knew it.
Every single time. And I'm like, Hufflepuff, represent.
I think it depends on how heroic I'm feeling about whether or not I get Ravenclaw or Gryffindor.
I'm just, we'll bring snacks.
I'll be, you know what? I think I would like to be in Ravenclaw, though. I think there's too much going on with those people in Gryffindor. There's like a lot going on.
So much. And when I found out, Newt Scamander was also a Hufflepuff, I'm like, yeah.
You're like, oh, yes.
So yeah, I knitted myself.
They sound like they don't put out any good wizards, but that's not true.
No. Cedric Diggory was a Hufflepuff.
Yes.
So,
I think, as we've talked about, there's there is more media with magic and witches and wizards and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And in books and media and everything. Do you think that, I think we know the answer is yes. Marginalized communities, find commonalities and find themselves told in these stories.
Well, of course, and I think that was what I was talking about earlier, is very often in the stories that the either witches or wizard or magic users are othered. You know, they're either they're different or the non-magic users are different.
Right.
You know, somebody is usually othered in these stories, but also there's a lot of found family in a lot of these stories, a lot of growing up or coming out in a lot of these stories. So I think they would, and I also think that's why everything that's gone on with J.K. Rowling broke so many hearts, because so many people saw themselves in that story. You know, a literal little boy coming out of a closet downstairs and finding himself for the first time.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's so painful. It's so painful because that story is just so meaningful to people in so many different kinds of circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, for the longest time, you know, witches, like we talked about, like, you know, Glinda was a good witch, right? In the Wizard of Oz, the original Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Although I can make a very long argument about how she's actually the villain of the story.
Yeah, man.
But, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West. And, you know, witch was used as a term, and it's still sometimes people use it to derogatorily about a woman. And, you know, in older media, usually the witches were ugly old women, you know, scary, ugly old women, right? They were never, you know, beautiful, which is exactly what Dorothy says. But, you know,
right.
You know, but you're beautiful. Witches are ugly, you know? And, like, I noticed that that's changing.
Yeah, of course.
But what I also notice is I almost feel like that there's this thing where the way men use magic and the way women use magic in media is different. You know, men, it so much seems to me to be about power and being powerful and being the most powerful or being more powerful than someone, and they're more likely to use it more like in a scientific way.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, and I noticed that a lot in Harry Potter. I mean, we talked about how it's very academic and everything, but that also feels to me very masculine in nature. It's just one way of organizing. It's one way of a brain organizing.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm all like, and the way I want magic to be is I want it to be more like, floaty.
You can also look in Harry Potter and see that far more of the witches are the teachers, I mean specifically, are more kooky characters, and the men are much more academic. But I think when you look at this, especially we were talking about fairy tales, so they used old woman as villain by turning her into a witch the majority of the time, just to demonize women. But when you look at this older media, even with Baum's Wizard of Oz, the witch was the bad guy, the wizard was the hero. And then you look at Tolkien, wizards were heroes. Even though they were old men using magic, they were considered the good guys, the white, the hero, right? That's what they talk about them like. And women in that era using magic, old and gray, were not. Yeah. They were demonized and they were seen as ugly and it was fine if you killed them. And
because they're eating the babies. Yeah. So, you know, and I mean, that all of that comes out of, you know, this removal of women from medicine. You know, it used to be the healing and the birthing and all of that was the domain of, that's why postmenopausal women exist. You know, like there's always a wise woman or wise women, and it usually is an older woman because, you know, she's trained by the previous older woman, you know, and then once she goes through her, you know, childbearing years and all of that, then she becomes the wise woman. And then men decided that they wanted to be in charge of medicine. Science. And they needed to get rid of these women who were actually the healers. And, like, if you read the history of the witch burnings, and, you know, so much of that is rooted in just outright a power grab.
Yeah.
Against the women.
Favorite saying that has come out recently is they didn't burn witches, which is what we always say. They burned women.
Yes.
There was no such thing as witches in Salem in the 1600s or anywhere else, and they were just grabbing women and putting them to death for absolutely
grabbing women with any
arbitrary
kind of
reasons.
Different opinion
Right.
and you could just blame anybody. And if a man, a woman could accuse another woman, and if a man said, yeah, that's true, then go burn her. Like, it is.
Right.
It is. There's so much violence against women in the history of witchcraft. And it really, it upsets me so much, because we set back, and I think of how many women died. Well, first of all, how many people died, but how many women have died throughout history because we took away their healers. We took away the midwives.
Right.
We made women afraid to help other women through childbirth.
But then you see when what you're talking about happened, and it started to becoming more about science, and men took over science, and women weren't allowed to do this. Then the women who would have previously been labeled witches and burned as witches now started being institutionalized, now started being lobotomized, now started being drugged heavily and kept under sedation.
Yep.
How fun! What a fun turn we took here today.
But I don't think, like, that's the thing. I don't think you can talk about magic and witches and witchcraft without talking about the history of violence against women.
Correct.
And the war on women having any knowledge.
Yeah.
Women having knowledge for some reason terrifies men, but I don't find it at all terrifying for men to have knowledge.
Now that is a question in here. Now I can't find it anymore about Western and Eastern. This is a very Western term. This is not really in Eastern fiction, this evil old lady as witch. They had a much more mystical, supernatural, everyone is doing magic, and it's quite different. They have, I feel like in the Eastern history and fiction, it's more like magic users than our witch,
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, these are magic users, and they're drawing on mysticism and and things like that, instead of just witch. Burn the witch.
No, I guess that's true, because I think about, people that come from countries where people still sort of remember their indigenous, magical beliefs to some extent. There does seem to be more reverence still built in there.
Yeah, their history is so different than our history.
Yeah,
it's just
for
even
women, for women with power, and people with power. But yeah, I think that's interesting, because I don't know a lot about Eastern media having to do with magic, and you lived in Japan, so obviously we're exposed to more of it than I ever was.
And a lot of the Western culture has, infiltrated over there, so they have a lot of Harry Potter style stuff now because it's so popular. But a lot of their media has nothing to do with our kind of Western sensibilities about witches and wizards, and they focus more on the magic and the history of the magic and that kind of thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
A lot about
there's
a lot of things about elements and elemental magic, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's just different. It's just different historically than what we had, and ours is really, theirs could be dark too. I won't claim to know all their history. So
but if anybody has any input they want to give us on that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so should magic come with a price?
Oh, it does all the time, doesn't it? What's a good example of that? Because it often, I have a good example that you haven't seen. Full Metal Alchemist. Theirs is kind of an old timey set. The setting is old timey anime, and all their magic comes with a price. Like, they can't do it without paying something, and sometimes it's really severe. So that's the only one I can think of right off the top of my head, where the magic, when you do magic, you have to give, to get something, you have to give something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, supernatural kind of establishes that kind of, magic and that kind of stuff. That's going to come with a price. It definitely shows up, like in the Vampire Diaries and the originals, that there's a cost. Like, even in Buffy, what happens to Willow? If you had to recommend one magical story to a newcomer, what would it be?
The House
Why
Witch.
Is it Harry Potter?
It's the House Witch. It's the House Witch.
Okay, that is more accessible and easy to read.
The House Witch. It just is so good. It's such a fun. It makes you feel good. It's so cozy. The characters are fun. It's a fun magic system they have, and
yeah,
it's great.
The House Witch. That's true. The House Witch. Read The House Witch. watch the TV show The Good Witch?
Yeah.
Have you ever watched it?
I'm like, wait. Who was in this one?
Kristen Bell. Is that her name?
Yeah, like Kristen Bell, but maybe I haven't.
From JAG?
Maybe I
It's a
haven't watched
Canadian
it.
show.
Oh,
I think
then
like
maybe
I think
not.
now it's on the Hallmark Channel. It's been on a bunch of different channels.
It was
over the
so
years.
familiar, and I was like, yeah, no, maybe
It's
not.
run for a really long time. And The Good Witch, it was originally like some Hallmark movies, and then it got made into a series. And it's a cozy small town, quirky people. It's not like spells and stuff. She's just like, eat this muffin.
It's like practical magic.
It's going to be better. Yeah, exactly. Just like eat, and you're like, oh, you know what? My life is better now that I ate this muffin. I love it. And I was just thinking to myself that when I finish Lost, I'm going to go do some Good Witch because
I'll have to look that one up because I have not watched that or heard of it. Like, I don't remember that. It's
really
not familiar
simple,
to
not
me.
heavy on the magic, but just the concept of some people are just in tuned, and guess what? We can all be a little more in tuned.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
Our favorite witch, I have 2 pages.
Oh, do you? I only have one of your pages somehow. I don't know how. I seem to have printed out your page as well, but I don't.
Oh, because mine were at the end of. I stuck them
Yeah.
onto the end of our notes, and then I forgot to pull it out, so they are just sitting there.
Here they are.
Here they are. You know all my answers. I don't know yours. You want to give me your list of favorite magically wizardy witchy goodness?
I don't even know if these are favorites. I just put the ones I know I have seen without stuff I just don't really count. My books, so obviously The House Witch, the Starfall Point series. I've talked about that a lot by Molly Harper. So I read a book called The Witches of Moonshine Manor by Bianca
I've read that.
Moraes. Oh, that's such a good book. It's
That is a great
octogenarians. And
Yes.
you just don't usually get main characters who are in their 80s, strong, amazing women. And there's a great trans storyline in that book. Oh, it's so good.
That is a great book.
Such a good book.
I'm so glad you read that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. His Dark Materials. There's a bunch of witches in that book. Those books by Philip Pullman. Harry Potter, The Wizard of Oz, The Hobbit. I recently read The Hobbit again this year. A Discovery of Witches.
Yep.
And there's a book called called Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. It's really an interesting take on it because the main character is like an apprentice in a library, but the library is meant to keep the grimoires from getting out because the grimoires are dangerous. So of course, she ends up having some interesting things with her, but she's not necessarily magic at the beginning. And so she's just keeping these grimoires from doing harm.
So she's like a Lahaba. She has Lahaba's
And the wizards are supposedly the bad guys, and she ends up, it's not true, and there's a lot of propaganda. So, did you want to go through books, or did you just want to do them all
I
at once?
didn't organize them properly. They're all over the place.
Okay.
I just have a massive list of stream of consciousness. And then I have my favorite. Actually, the last part of my list is my favorite witches, wizards, or magic users.
Okay.
So, yeah, my list isn't as long as I thought it was. Oh, let me see. Let me try to find the books. So, the Mossaverse. Like, there's so much magic of all different kinds in there. And obviously, I've just been immersed in it. So, it's top of mind. Practical Magic, the book, and the movie. Now, she wrote many, I just read it like a couple of years ago, and I can't remember what the name of it is. There's a sequel to Practical Magic all these years later.
I didn't know that.
And I heard that Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock want to make a movie, so I'm assuming they're going to base it on...
I hope so.
Yeah, it was really... The Mists of Avalon, because of course. There's a book called The Witches of New York, which almost a little bit when you said that Witches of Moonshine Manor and the octogenarians, The Witches of New York, it's like golden age of New York kind of time frame. And there's a tea shop that is actually like a little, it's witches, and they put out a help wanted ad, and this young woman takes this job not realizing that she's going to work for 3 old ladies who are actually witches. And it's a good story. It's a good story. The Sookie books, I think there's actually more magic in the books than there is in in the TV show. Yeah. Obviously the Mayfair Witches. I think those are all of my books.
Okay. Here's the movies that I did. A lot of these are from the 80s and 90s, funny enough. The Witches of Eastwick. Do you remember The Witches of Eastwick?
Oh, yes! Oh,
I loved that movie. And do you know when it came out? 1987. Do you know how old I was in 1987? 7 years old. I shouldn't have been watching that movie, but I loved that.
I shouldn't have been watching that movie.
That's
so
right.
You sent me that picture.
That's
of Angelica Houston.
That picture's from The Witches by Roald Dahl. Do you know?
Oh, I haven't watched watch that, but if it's Roald Dahl, it's terrifying.
Terrifying. And Angelica
Yeah.
Houston was terrifying. That's a book. So that's a book and a movie, The Witches, from when I was little. Practical Magic. There was a movie called it's called Teen Witch. It came out in the 90s. This is where Sabrina came from. Teen Witch. Teen Witch, what was her name? Her name is Robin something or other. Curly red hair. She was big in the 80s.
Yes. Oh, I kind of remember that.
This is the cringiest movie ever made in the history of movies. It was a Disney movie. Even at like 9, 10, I cringed so hard. But it sparked all these teen witch things that came after.
Yeah.
So it is the like quintessential 80s, 90s movie.
Okay.
There's
cool.
white people rapping in it.
Oh, yes.
It's so bad.
Always a good,
So again, The Wizard of Oz, The Hobbit, and Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. Kiki's Delivery Service, the cutest witchcraft ever done. Kiki's Delivery Service is a Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
The cutest. Howl's Moving Castle. He's a wizard, and there's witches. The best. The Craft. Return to Oz scared me to death as a kid.
Yeah.
Labyrinth and The Dark Crystal.
Yes, both of those. How did they not end up on my list?
So much right now. The Blair Witch Project. I've still never seen it.
No, never gonna watch it.
I've never seen it. It was such a phenomenon, and I didn't see it. And
that
here's
looked
my
terrifying to me.
Yeah,
and I don't see. Here's the thing: I don't like horror movies actually, and I don't like slasher movies, and I get too. I get too immersed in media, so it's really hard for me to watch.
I think it was one of those things that back when it came out, it was too big, so I didn't want to watch it. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, everybody's seeing this, so I don't want to watch it.
All. The amount of things in my life that I haven't watched because of that.
Here's my big confession. It's not a hot take. It's an unpopular opinion I have. I really, really don't like Hocus Pocus.
I have never seen Hocus Pocus. I can't believe that our confessions are both about Hocus Pocus.
Do you know how many... I'm glad this is at the end, because do you know how many people just turned this off, like, right now?
Oh my
They just
God.
turned it off. What?
Everyone, except us.
So, here's what happened. This movie came out when I was a teenager. And so many people who love it, they're grown adults now. It came out when they were kids, and it was a kids movie, and they loved it. It came out when I was a teenager, and I watched it and went, what is this? I hate this. I hate it so much. As a teenager, because I was a teenager. And so as an adult, I gave it a chance, and I was like, I'm going to let my daughter watch it. She was about 5 years old, and I gave her she didn't see anything from my face. I was like, let's watch this fun Halloween movie. And we sat back, and I'm sitting there like, this is still the worst. And we finished it, and she was like, I didn't really like that. I didn't influence her at all, I promise. So it's just not in my nostalgia. I don't like it at all.
I don't even know why I won't watch it. But it's not that I haven't. It's that I won't. At this point,
Just like Blair Witch.
It's a won't if you haven't done it, right? Like Blair Witch. And it's everyone I know.
It's all millennials because this came out in their childhood. And I absolutely get that. It's kind of like Home Alone, right? Not that has anything to do with witches. Home Alone came out in my childhood. So as a child, I watched it and I loved it. So as an adult, I have nostalgia for it. So I can watch it as an adult and have nostalgia. My daughter watched Home Alone. She was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But I have nostalgia. So I think it's the same thing for Hocus Pocus. Millennials are adults now, and they have so much nostalgia for this thing that they loved as a kid. And I'm like, this movie is terrible. I hate it so bad.
I mean, and every year it feels like there's more and more
because they're now the adults
around this movie. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're now the ones who are
funny.
People just tuned out unmasked, by the way.
They're like unsubscribe. Something wrong with you ladies.
For real. But I do, if you're Gen X like us and you do love Hocus Pocus, please tell us why. Like, what is it? I'm not going to argue. There's too many people who like it.
Try to convince me to watch it. Sell me on it. I don't know why I'm so resistant to it. And maybe it is because it's so popular, but I don't do that with everything. I have no idea. But every year it's like, everybody's talking about Halloween and it's on TV and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, no.
There's too many people who love it for me to go, oh, it's terrible. So that's why I said I don't have a hot take that it's bad. No. I have an unpopular opinion that I don't like it.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. Okay, so we got through the movies.
How funny.
I don't think you had any movies that I don't have.
Okay. Then the last was TV, and this was where I really was shocked. I just thought there was so much more TV that I've watched with witches, and all I got was Charmed, and I loved Charmed.
I love
so
Charmed.
much Charmed.
Oh, we might
Sabrina.
have to talk about Charmed. Yeah.
I haven't watched Charmed either in a long time. Sabrina, I didn't really watch much Sabrina, but it was one of those things that was always
I
on.
watched the first 2 seasons
yeah.
and for some reason never went back for the third. And I think you identified that a couple episodes ago, that it's not about not liking it. It's just that it takes like 3 years to get the next season, and then you're not interested anymore. Yeah.
And I put Buffy and The Witcher on here.
Yep.
And I put Sailor Moon and I just put and all other magical girl anime because they're not necessarily called or considered to be witches, but they are girls who use magic. They're magic users.
Like the
so
Winx
I put
Club.
that in there.
I forgot to put that down, but yeah, I mean they're doing something. It's magic.
Yeah. There's tons and tons and tons of magical girl anime.
Yeah.
So much. That's what I was talking about. It's kind of different over there than it is over here.
Yeah.
It's not they're not ugly witches the way we grew up seeing that. They're using magic.
So I had some. Is that all for your TV one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had some on here that are so Buffy the Vampire Slayer, obviously, right? Willow. Okay. Supernatural.
I didn't put that, yeah.
A lot of witchcraft goes on there. And now here, because we're both watching Lost, I'm not sure what's going on. Is Jacob using magic? Because he's
I don't know.
Maneuvering. It's like he has to touch people to choose them. I mean, it's very loose. It's very loose. But there's
a
something
lot of
supernaturally magic.
Supernatural and mysticism.
And something about that
lots
island and the electromagnetics is trying to explain something that's probably actually spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that one's on there. Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, Charmed, the original one, because I haven't watched the remake, The Good Witch, the True Blood TV shows, The Vampire Diaries and the originals, not Legacies because it sucked. And I think, did I say True Blood? I think I said True Blood. True Blood.
I think we talked about it, but not just now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So those are my TVs.
Isn't it that weird though? I just thought it was just so much more.
I did too. I mean, I had to really go out on a limb there with Lost.
But I think maybe that's why, because there are so many shows like Lost and things that do use so much,
but they never
magic and stuff. But maybe don't. But one thing we neither of us put, and I'm surprised. What about Once Upon a Time?
I totally
witches
forgot about
in there.
It. Oh,
neither of us put that down.
Should have been there.
Yeah.
I do like Once Upon a Time,
and I guess
I'm like
tons
not like a
and
super
tons and
fan,
tons
but I
of
do
the
like it.
tons of the Disney movies. That's all got witches all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're just sort of drawing a line on what we're.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up, do you have favorite witches, wizards, magic users?
I don't know. I don't really know. And a lot of times it just is what I'm reading because like we said about the house, which I love that. But then whenever I read Harry Potter, God, I'm so immersed in that world. I just love all of that. And when I'm watching some of these other things, I love that. And I don't know.
So I think, so it's interesting about Harry Potter. So what I did with Harry Potter was like, if I had to pick my favorite witch or wizard from Harry Potter, and I picked Hermione, is because, well, she's the most capable. And also I identify with her. I mean, who doesn't love Harry? But if I had to pick best
favorite, my favorite witch in my favorite witch in Harry Potter is Molly Weasley. She's a badass.
Oh, look at you coming up with all right.
I love her.
I love her. Yeah. Oh, Luna Lovegood.
I love Luna.
Lovegood.
Yeah,
I love
awesome.
Luna. I love Luna. Uncle Julian or Uncle Julien. From the Mayfair Witches, which anybody who's read those books is going to be like, "Are you okay?"
Probably we're not. We're not.
Uncle
you should know
Julian?
that.
Really?
Is that a hot take?
Oh, it's a hot take.
Oh,
it's a big hot
right.
take. It's a big hot take. But yeah. But he's my favorite witch out of all of the Mayfair witches.
Well, we picked our favorite witches. Do you have a favorite wizard? Since we have differentiated, let's see if we can pick a favorite wizard.
Well, what would a wizard be?
Well, in the context of what we've talked about today, the witches were female for the most part, and
but what about
wizards
Sam
were
Winchester?
Men for the most part. Oh, okay. Yes,
Sam
ma'am.
Winchester. Sam Winchester becomes a badass witch, and even Rowena early on recognizes that he's not just leaning, like learning to read the words.
Yeah.
And in Rowena's death scene, it's a combination of Rowena and Sam casting the spell. I mean, that to me was such a powerful scene, obviously, but watching Sam, like, and nobody ever really mentions it. Sam goes from being able to read a Latin exorcism to opening up various grimoires and books of shadows and performing magic.
Yes.
But he's not a witch.
I would never have come up with that. So that's so interesting.
Because they did say that some people are witches. Mm-hmm. Right? There are witches, like a mystical being, but I think Sam's a witch. Rowena, obviously. I love Rowena. Man in Black Beak and the 13.
Yeah.
I mean, just amazing. And it's funny because they're witches, but they don't actually do a lot of magic.
Yeah, that's actually
referred
true.
To as witches.
They're referred to as witches, right.
Yeah. So,
yeah. I agree.
Bonnie Bennett from The Vampire Diaries. Samantha from Bewitched because.
Aww.
Davina Claire from the originals.
You have so many.
Elphaba.
Yes. Right.
But movie Elphaba.
Oh, I was going to say, no, wait a minute. Which one? There's a bunch of different ones. Yeah.
Movie Elphaba is, I mean, book Elphaba is book Elphaba, and it's great. Play Elphaba, really, really great. Cynthia and everyone who worked on that movie crushed it. And movie Elphaba was just chills and crying and gut wrench the whole time. She's so good. So good.
So I said I love Molly Weasley, and I do.
Yeah.
But I tend to, I mean, you said you had one that was a bad guy. I tend to love a villain. I love a villain. I just love a villain. So one of my favorites to watch and to read about, God, I love Beatrix Lestrange. I love her.
Wonderfully crazy.
So, yes, that's what it is. She's amazing. And so I love her character both in the book and on the screen.
Yeah.
So,
Helena Bonham Carter was the perfect person to play that
for
role.
that. Yeah, she really was. And I love McGonagall. Although
there's something we forgot.
We have talked a lot in my household about that all of the since she turns into a cat, all of the students have seen her butt.
And other things. True. True. That's awkward, but true.
It is awkward, But yeah. So my favorite wizard is Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. And specifically the movie. It is a book, but the book and the movie are quite different, and she let Miyazaki change it quite a bit, and it's just beautiful. And so you've asked me before, like, how if there was an anime, should you watch it? I don't think you should ever, like, right now get into like an anime series. That's very hard to jump into. But if you wanted to test the waters ever to see how you feel about an anime, I think you should watch Howl's Moving Castle. That is the most beautiful movie. It is a sweet, sweet romance. It is so well done and so well written. That's my husband and my daughter's favorite Ghibli movie.
Really?
And he's my favorite wizard. So I think that you'll like Howl. That's a beautiful, beautiful movie. And it's fun. And it's a good book, too. They're different. But they're good. We had some hot takes in that one, Melissa.
We did. I think we just lost a whole bunch of people, but yeah. So,
I hope not.
Yeah. I mean, we've obviously...
Was that your confession?
Yes. That was my confession. That's it. That was my shameful confession, is that I've never seen Hocus Pocus.
What are the odds that was our, like...
That's when you started to say, well, it's not really a hot take, it's a this, it's a that, it's just something. I was like, if she says Hocus Pocus, I'm going to die. That's wild.
Wow.
That is wild. See?
Well,
there's a reason we're friends.
I felt vindicated when my daughter also did not like it. I was like, see? Not just me.
See, it's not just me. Not just me. People with similar brain organization also did not like it.
Yeah.
So I think, we like doing these kind of broad, all over the place, less specific to one fandom conversations. We hope you like them too.
Yeah.
And we hope that you will join in the conversation and like what did we miss? We're unsubscribing because you guys are anti-Hocus Pocus, which we are not anti-Hocus Pocus in any stretch.
Anti-Hocus Pocus propaganda.
Yeah. But, we're not. We're not. Yeah. So, please tell us what your favorites are, what your least favorites are, what are like magic, wizards, witches tropes that, because we really didn't get too much into the tropes in this episode, that you don't like or that you do like.
Yeah.
You know, because as more and more media is created around these, I am seeing a lot of repeated.
Yes.
We're getting tropey.
Yeah.
We are
That's
getting tropey.
exactly right.
Yeah. Liza, would you like to tell them all of the places they can find us?
Sure. So we are on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify for the podcast, but we are also having a lot of fun over on TikTok and Instagram as well. There's a lot of conversations going on both of those. And we are on Patreon having a lot of fun over there too.
Yes. And thank you so much to everybody who's with us on Patreon. And thank you all so much for watching. We really, really appreciate it. We're having so much fun. And until we see you next time,
stay unmasked and overstimulated.
love you guys so much. Bye.